All right, so this is the example for number 4. So you're being told, here are the possible solutions. You have to check them in the system. Now, on the test itself, again, the work was shown and the work was correct. It was just asking you to interpret it. So for practice, we're just going to have you do all the work. But these two statements here are the important part to make sure that you're interpreting it correctly. Okay, so we have 2 different solutions we have to check, which means we have to check both of those in both of these equations. Okay, so let's do the first one. We've got our x of 0 and our y of -2. I'm going to sub that in here. -2 plus 2 on the left. And I've got a negative, and my x is 0 squared. Okay, so when I simplify this in the calculator, I'm going to get 0. And when I simplify this in the calculator, I'm going to get 0. So that worked out. That means we're good. All right, that's a little bit better focus. So far, this coordinate works in the first equation. Now I'm going to check it in the second equation. So -2 is my 0. I'm sorry, is my y value. And then I've got a plus 2. And then on this side, I've got a negative sign and then the cube root of 0. So when I put this in my calculator, I get 0. And if you want to practice putting this in your calculator, you're going to put that opposite sign. That's the little negative on the bottom. And then we're going to do cube root. So we press 3. That's our root. Second. And then the exponent key. And in this case, we just have a 0 under there. So we can just press enter. And that gives me a 0. So far, this works. So I'm going to put that in here. 0, -2 is a solution of the systems of equations. Okay, now I have to check the other one. So my other one, x is 1 and y is -3. So I'm going to check that into the first equation. Sub -3 in for y. Does that equal the opposite of 1 squared? So I've got a -3 on the left. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot the plus 2. Well, that's going to screw everything up. Sorry about that. So -3 plus 2. When I simplify that, I get a -1. And when I simplify this side, and if you're not sure, you can put it in your calculator, the opposite, and then 1 squared is -1. Okay, so that worked. All right. So just be careful you're subbing in and writing the whole left side, not just the y. Okay, so that worked. So now I have to check the other equation. My y is still -3, and I have a plus 2 there. And then I've got an opposite sign and the cube root of 1. So again, if you're unsure, you can put these in your calculator. This is -1. The opposite sign, 3 is my root. Second, and then this exponent key, and I have a 1 in there. So it equals -1. So what does this all mean? Because again, the interpretation is what matters here. -1, because when -1 equals -1, that means when I subbed in this x and y, it made it true. So that x and y is my solution. So make sure you're interpreting this correctly and entering it into the calculator correctly.